Welcome to PhD with Woman on It, Hack the Future. My name is Beata Young, and today's PhD Positivity Hack delivered will be by our guest, Chen Odesky. Topic: creating innovative, unique, and friendly digital experiences that users love. Episode 103 starts here. Let me remind you, this is a grassroots community that focuses on women on IT, an inclusive forum of women in technology, startups, and female leaders who are supported by men as well. And I bring heart to that hustle because empathy is my mojo. And empathy is critical when you are creating innovative, unique, and friendly digital experiences that users love. Let me just go into things that's been happening in the technology world. Congratulations to the founder of She Code Africa, Ada Nduka Oyom, for winning the prestigious WW Code Founders Award. She has not only excelled in entrepreneurship but also played a critical role in developing organizations within the tech industry. Kudos to TransUnion and Women Impact Tech for collaborating and having a successful event last week. This event empowers women in technology to connect and elevate other women. May you continue to give more positive impact in the technology world. This week, Tammy Cooper, CEO, CFO, and chairman of Technologent, has been named a 2023 Enterprising Woman of the Year Award winner by the Network for Enterprising Women, an annual tribute to the world's top women entrepreneurs. Congrats, Tammy, and many other women who achieved greatness no matter how small. Now let's go back to our topic: creating innovative, unique, and friendly digital experiences that users love. In today's world, digital experiences are essential to connect with customers and grow your business. With so many options out there, it's important to stand out from the crowd by creating experiences that are not only innovative and unique, but also and above all, user friendly. For Positivity Hack Delivered episode 103, we will learn from an expert in the field who has years of experience designing and developing digital experiences that have resonated with users. User experience, user interface designer Hen Odesky. She was just teaching me how to say her name. Her first experience in business and design was in the media and marketing industry, where she shaped her skills in planning, developing, marketing, and analyzing various digital assets. Her priority is to always consider user needs and create a seamless, unique, and innovative experience. Whether you are a digital marketer, user experience designer, product manager, business owners, join us, ask questions, use this beautiful interface that StreamYard's Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn provides today, and ask us questions, reach out, or rewatch it from wherever you are. Hen, where in the world are you today? Tell us.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. So I am based in Israel. My name is Chen. It's tough to pronounce for sure. We're currently at a bit of a military situation, so I hope to not get disturbed by some alarms out there, but uh, positive enough. I'm ready to talk about experiences and innovative experiences, UX, UI. This is my favorite thing, and I hope you will all enjoy it.
Oh, absolutely, especially given the fact that we are joined by Naira today. Naira, hello.
Hello, Naira.
Hi there. I'm sorry. I'm just going to change my location. The music is just a little bit high here. Just
No
1 minute.
problem at all. No problem at all, Naira. I'm looking forward. Naira is joining us from Jordan, of all the places. Hopefully, uh, she will also have a peaceful surroundings and she will be able to ask some real time questions, Hen, because I think she has got more experience with user experience than I think majority of women on IT team. And when I thought of an excellent interviewer, I thought of Naira. So, Hen,
Amazing.
talk to
Nice to meet you.
us. Great. Talk to us. Tell us what's your experience? How did it start? What drawn you into this customer focused user experience?
So I was actually starting my professional way from psychology majoring, and I was pursuing my diploma in psychology and social work. Uh, but once the tech field is calling you, it's very hard to defy and not to answer. And I had just some kind of a journey around it and some kind of a challenge I needed to solve with the elderly community. And I wanted to just make prescriptions a bit more adjusted to their needs. And from the physical world, it just started to roll into the tech world. And I just enjoyed to do the combination between the two of them, and I understood that this is the thing I need to do in my life in order to keep me as a woman satisfied and very happy with what I do professionally. So this is what got me there, actually, to see some kind of a community that needs me, but not entirely physically, but also from the digital sphere.
Sounds very puzzling, I would say. We know that Israel is a startup nation. So tell us, when did you join the startup world and started to provide your services?
So interestingly, I wasn't. I was just about to finish my diploma when I was needed to develop some kind of idea to an app inside the municipality service, in some kind of in some establishment around the city I live in. And from there, the road was very fast. I started to get the feeling that I just need to dip my toes inside, like the field, the tech field, and to do some kind of a U-turn from the place that I was. It needed to take some. It wasn't that easy. It was a risk for sure, but it was something I was very passionate about, and I wasn't going to let my passion be muted. So I just went for it and tried. And the first phase was to actually go to a media company and to just try to see how I'm interacting with people in the digital sphere, what's an actual field of experience I want to start and work in. And it brought very fast to the point that I just started to learn long nights of UX UI. It started from some little courses around, like here and there. And then I went to some kind of a famous establishment here in Israel to accomplish my diploma and made it a bit more uh, adjusted to the cognitive way I see things inside the tech field. And it was the perfect combination for me.
So tell us, what is the cognitive way of seeing things in tech world? That sounds very uh, confusing.
So there's probably some kind of a cognitive way to look at people. Like at first, when you meet people, you want to greet them, you want to accept their way into your interface, which is my face. We want to greet them in a very eased way. And the thing is, I just started to think about how cognitive models work in this kind of tech field. For example, when I just started to make a one pager for a customer, I just started to think what a customer might need, what a customer might ask right now. And the point where I stopped seeing people as customers, but first of all, as people, I was better to analyze their behaviors as some kind of data-driven expert that want to make the entire experience better for people. That was the actual turning point for taking, like, absorbing all the cognitive models I learned from my psychology major to the digital sphere.
And that sounds really intriguing. And well, I can think about one approach, which is actually self-interest here. I'm going to explain to you. For example, I met a couple of ladies recently, and they are very reluctant to pay with a phone, to do anything on the phone, because somebody might steal data, and the interface is so confusing. They don't know how to do it, and they don't want to bother with that. So how do you break that cycle of no, it's too complex, I'm not going to do that?
Yeah, it's actually a very common problem because once some kind of interface is not being accessible enough or is not credible enough, it's very easy to, at the marketing community, we call it to bounce. So once a user bounce, I know that something is probably not credible enough in his experience in the website, in the mobile. So this is the phase where I stop and just start to analyze user journey to understand what the actual situation where a user need my help in order to make his purchase a bit more eased and a bit more to make him feel a bit more sure that his payment is going to a good place and it's not going to store his data anywhere. And it starts some kind of a conversation between, like, the screen and the user. And I'm the one who thinks about what is going to be answered from the screen way. So it's very fun to think about it like that, and it's very fun to think about intrigues that might make people fear from being involved in some kind of a mobile or web app. But this is the kind of things and challenges that drives me, and I'm hoping to keep do it better in order to maintain some kind of a streamed experience between people.
Beautiful. Now, I know that Anaira was trying to join us. Clearly, her internet is having some issues today. So let me ask you a question that I asked Naira before, but maybe in your opinion, what is the what does the user interface, user designer do? What are the skills you need to have to become one?
So I think that the main thing is to not be alarmed with a lot of technical issues. A person, like, who goes to this kind of to major UX or UI or doing some kind of a boot camp need to know it's not only creativity that need to be held inside this job. Like, this role actually needs to be very calculated. It needs to be aligned with mental basis, and a lot of issues need to be analyzed very, very technically. So before going to that field, I wish women everywhere could know that if their strength is with data and with analyzing data and with seeing the big picture, the macro picture, and they have some kind of a tech savvy approach, I think that's the most the most unique and usable quality in this field today.
Because we need more females to create a better and diverse technology, right?
Right. So in my country, actually, most designers today, as for like latest statistics, are showing some kind of alarming picture of women being paid less from men. So I think this is a general issue that affects all of fields of work, but from a place that actually the women is the majority that's working around UX UI fields. I think it's very important to lighten the issue and to bring very competent people to a state that they can be leaders and managers and women that can be even a CEOs of companies, because this kind of ability, I think, is into every woman, and I think we can do so much more, and we need to take this under consideration and start doing things in order to make the women working areas a bit more accepting and a bit more motivating.
Absolutely. Well, we know that, for example, Israel is a nation that has got a female army. What's it like for you? Have you joined the army? It seems to be such a male job everywhere else. And did you have that experience?
Yeah, for sure. It was the two most wonderful years of my life. I think that this is the most character building experience women might have today, but not everybody can can go to the army. I was actually a commander around um, uh, education streams inside the army. I'm not sure how to call it like in English, because it's some kind of a
So, in
special
other words,
force.
you were teaching, right? Students of
I
the
was
army.
teaching teachers.
Oh, wow, that's
Yeah,
that's
so
quite something.
yeah, in
Was it
Israel we're
challenging?
trying, very, very challenging, mostly because it's a thing that takes you out from the comfort zone and makes you just learn a bunch of stuff that is very similar to what I do today. Today, when I want to develop an app, for example, I need to learn so much about interfaces and about the accepting side and the user side and everything around it. There is some kind of a learning curve in this field that is very important. And I think that if I wasn't going to the army, I wouldn't have the perseverance to actually do all the work I do today. I think it makes me so much more professional and so much more articulate and like better in learning and teaching stuff and vice versa.
Tenacity. There you go.
Tenacity.
Absolutely. That's
For
my favorite
sure.
word. And
Love
it's
tenacity.
critical for women on IT to hack the
For
future.
sure.
There you go. Hen, I wanted to ask you, so you had the diploma in psychology, and I think also when we think about customers, empathy plays critical role. But can you learn psychology of human psychology, or can you do it in your own pace at home in order to be better at UX UI?
So I found like that the answer to this question is buried in books. But I think that really I'm some kind of a bookworm, and I just start to read so much about the psychology and cognitive psychology, and I started to understand how people interact today, and I tried to elevate it in order to be a better professional in the UX UI field. But when I'm looking today at a human centered approach, I am first of all, trying to learn more for everything I face in my work. For example, if one user will complain about something, I want to be the person to hear him and to give him the ability to know that he is heard and his problem will be taken care of. So this problem solving ability is something I found in books, and it's something I found in the cognitive psychology field. It was so much fun for me to learn this field, but I felt that the tech field is calling me. so when I started to work with people like around UX UI, I started to measure behaviors and understand what uh, better integrates user inside some kind of system. And the one turning point was the moment I understood that I wasn't dealing with clients, but with people, and the ability to analyze their behaviors was actually something that create a professional bridge around the physical and the virtual world together. I felt that this is the best combination I can do. And every time I felt like it wasn't enough, I went I went back to my books and tried to find a solution to the new challenge I'm facing today. And this is like the entire circle. I think that it was very productive for me.
So let's go into a couple of startup mantras. How
Mhm.
important the KISS mantra, keep it simple, stupid mantra, applies to user experience, user interface?
So I think it's something very mindful to know that a person may not be on its best self every single minute of the day. And I think that the moments where you stick into some kind of a mantra with yourself about something you believe in and something that make you do better, I think that's the best way to ignite your passion. For example, I when I started to learn and to do some kind of a pivot from the psychology field to the tech field, I took some sentence on my computer and put like a screensaver of um, that was very very unique and trying to get my attention, saying it better like you better start now. And this kind of simplistic mantra, even though it wasn't very clever, it was something that made me do better and made me just get out of my comfort zone and continue doing what I'm doing.
So I was actually asking about the mantra KISS, keep it simple, stupid. How does it apply to user interface? Because
Mm-hmm.
the number of times that people complexify their apps because they think the more beautiful it looks, the better it is. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
really, with some things, especially with the time we have at our hands, I just want to do click,
Mm-hmm.
click, click, and it's done. For example,
Yeah.
just to give you an example, recently I was using a bicycle with an
Mm-hmm.
app,
Mm-hmm.
and in order to make a complaint about something, I have to do it via email. I can't do it within the app. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's a long process of, are you sure you want to complain? Yes, I want to complain. And then eventually it was like, okay, you have to do it on the website. You can't do it on the app. And you have to
Mm-hmm.
call the center. So I called the center to cut a shortcut. And they said, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, no, you have to do it via email only. You can't do a complaint on the phone. So
Mm-hmm.
how does really simplicity applies to building an app or a website?
So being simple is very important. Like in school, we have some kind of a rule for 3 clicks maximum for experiences. I don't think this rule applies, but you need to understand first of all what is the most important value you want to deliver to your clients. And for example, the company you were dealing with was not about to make people contact them. They wanted to make it hard as possible. So this is like a value. Maybe they short staff or something like that. So when I'm trying to just simple things and look about what is the actual value the company I'm working for is trying to get, I was able to make some much more unique and accurate experiences for clients.
Mm, absolutely. Well, thinking about your customers, tell us about the best experience you had with your customer and delivered the best so far. App.
Sorry, didn't hear the question.
What was the best experience you had with your customers, and what app did you develop for them?
Wow, I was truly falling in love in each and every one of the apps or web or mobile I designed. Uh, but I think that my story is pretty clear around the fact that I'm choosing companies that are doing like working for better cause for people. As of now, I'm working at some kind of alliance that trying to uh, acquire better performance for cognitive athletics, and it's very interesting. But I think that the way I got there to this company was the fact that I started to work on some kind of a similar app around making better performance with kids. And though those communities and like the ages are very different, and there's a huge difference in ages, there is still something very similar to all, which is to find the one thing that motivate and make purpose for the app. And once I myself found purpose inside some kind of an app, it was starting to elevate the entire experience, and I was able to make the design very, very comfortable to those who used it.
So I guess you talk about different experiences depending
Mhm.
on the age. How do you develop user journey when you're talking about kids? Do you go to school, talk to kids, or how do you gather data?
Wow, so this was an amazing experience also, because every time I'm just starting to work on some kind of a project, I have to acquire some data. I'm starting to get into like in our field. There's so many apps that helps us um, make data possible and make some surveys happen. And I use all of these tricks and data analysis programs, but mainly, if I look at it very simplistically, I use Google. I open the docs, I open a survey in Google, or a form, and I just start to send it to people. Sending it to people basically needs to be also very compatible with some technical elements that need to happen in every research. There is a difference between quantitative and qualitative research, but once you look at those two grasps and just start to research things, you get to the real problem, and you understand what is the actual thing you need to solve with the specific age you're dealing with. Because there is some kind of apps that are dealing mostly with kids, and some kind of apps that are uniquely developed for elderly people, and this is always a thing that needs to be in mind. Who are your client, and who is he, and what is the persona I'm trying to communicate with via the app.
Mm. So have you built, if you're talking about diversity, have you developed or worked on a project for, let's say, disabled people, hearing impaired or vision impaired?
So the main thing that was like inaccessible and I was dealing with was people that had motorical problems and was needed like typography and fonts and everything to be very big and very emphasized. And this is these things, like if you're open most of the apps today, things are very, very seamless and like have a very minimal line of work. And sometimes things need to get a bit uglier in order to be more usable. And if I'm putting my client first, I prefer it to be ugly, but to be like very adjustable and able to accomplish tasks with. I need to understand what the actual task that need to happen around an experience in order to solve a problem.
In order to make it user friendly. So, how do you bring innovation into that sphere? What inspires you for some inspiring thoughts?
So I think that putting fear aside, like every company I entered, there was some kind of thoughts that I'm not ready, or that I'm young, or that I'm a woman and maybe wasn't able to accomplish some kind of the tasks. But once I just embraced it and tried to make everything very like very user centered, and trying to deliver what's the actual behaviors that people are trying to accomplish throughout the app, I was able to actually solve a lot of problems in a lot of startups that was struggling. And I think that's very important, to put fear aside and to just understand that there is someone that needs you on the other end of the screen.
Someone that needs you on the other end of the screen, and definitely that's Olga Vesina. A great convo, Beata Young. Hen, do you think being in the startup nation Israel gives you an advantage to learn, or does it make the market more competitive to succeed in?
So that's a very good question. I think it's like Israel is truly the best place to learn, because you do have a choice. You have a choice in the field you're practicing in. You can choose which startup you want to start and converse with and start to solve things with. And once you're connecting to that point, I think it's very fun to solve problems around like this competitive field. uh, I'm not sure I faced the competitiveness as much as I faced um, like professional specific issues. I think that don't let competitive issues ruin the fact that you're making yourself more professional, and take every experience to a learning experience. And I think it will be better with every company you go with.
Absolutely. I would definitely echo that. Progress over perfection is the way to go. As Hen today said, put fear aside and understand that there is someone that needs you on the other end of the screen, or needs your support. And we are supporting today Women on IT Hack the Future. Hen, you talked briefly about your mantra, so that's a good segue for me to ask you, what's your life lesson quote and how did it change you?
um, so I'm actually again going to the books when I'm looking at mantras and quotes. I think that the best line that changed me was a line by Grace Hopper, which was like a computer scientist, very famous one, very innovative. And she said that a computer will never ask you a new question. And I think that the ability to ask new questions every time when you face interfaces is to understand that now is the time to solve this problem with asking the question. Always ask questions, always look for new questions to ask, because once the questions end, there's nothing to do. Oh, Beata, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I muted myself. Here is a user experience forgotten by me. How did it change? How does this quote applies to you? Maybe a moment in life or overall your career?
So, as I mentioned before, as an actual bookworm, I was reading some stuff that she wrote, and it actually made me very motivated to learn programming. So, today, when I'm working at my company, I'm trying to do things in some unconventional way, and I'm trying to also explore my fields further. So when Hopper wrote this sentence, it was, I think, in a very different world. And today we can do stuff so much different, so much better. We have all the abilities to learn new stuff and to ask new stuff. And this is the things that truly ignited my passion around my work.
Beautiful. And there is another quote that I love by Grace Hopper, Amazing Grace. She was called so because she was um, asked to come back from her retirement and join the army again and lead them to new heights. So her quote is, Admiral Grace Hopper quote is, a ship in a port is safe, but that's not why ships are built for.
That's amazing.
There you go.
She's like, so yeah, she's everything.
Absolutely amazing Grace. She was, and we celebrate every year Grace Hopper Day, which is 6th of December. I encourage you to check out her quotations, her life story. It's definitely a different dynamic than. And we are talking about with Hen today about the obstacles that women quite often face in the professional fields. So, Hen, you mentioned some nitty gritty things about the opportunities for women to join the economy and be at the forefront of economy. I mean, you're a prime example. You're leading your own startup, own your entrepreneur, and you've been working in the field for quite some time. So, what's your view on why it is good time to become entrepreneur?
So I think that any time is good time for entrepreneurship. I know that economically speaking, there might be some challenges around it, but the thing is that there is never a very good time to like purchase your dreams, to pursue your dreams, sorry. And I think that the moment you decide that this is what you want to do, this is truly the moment that you can do everything and every work you do better. um, I believe that even so there's so much of obstacles around acquiring UX UI first junior job today, actually trying and actually physically going to places and understand what their needs is not only the way you're going to get your first job, is also the way to be better at what you're doing. Don't let yourself down. Like it's going to be learning. There are going to be some disappointments, but you're going to you need to get your achievements.
Try to get your achievements no matter which field you're in, whether it's technology, whether it's business, whether it is career in the army, like Grace Hopper that we mentioned previously. So, what advice would you give to females to help their career? or start an entrepreneurial journey?
Sorry.
What advice, how to start? What would be
Mhm.
the key steps they need to take in order to become self-independent entrepreneurs?
So I think that the first step is to actually try and learn different things. I also like started to learn, as I said, programming and design, and try to enrich my world like in every field I can. Uh, but I do all that meanwhile working in an actual startup and working in an actual media company. I try to just experience the field from starting to working in it. And there wasn't much possibilities back then, so I just started as an account manager, and I ended up like shaping new experiences and new AI systems. And it's something that would never happen if I hadn't keep my learning always up, like always learning new things, always trying to enrich my thoughts, and always trying to solve problems and to look things to like make better. There's always experiences need to be better. So I truly advise to just start working, start learning, even if it's something that is not was like it wasn't exactly on your mind or wasn't the actual role you wanted. Just start, just dip the toe in the field, and try to learn new things and be better in what you do from an actual working experience.
And I believe startup world is a good example here, Hen, because definitely startups are always on the lookout of entrepreneurs who want to join them and try new things and develop projects and be part of the team. Now, what is your strategy for problem solving? I'm sure with your psychology degree, you have some interesting data.
So it's a very unique process for different experiences, and I think that if you just read a little bit about cognitive psychology, you understand that there is very few things that ignites the mind and help you solve things. Like one of the abilities I started to work through was to just write myself an entire like POC for every action and information detail needed for some kind of an app, and just writing what is required to the app, what is truly necessary to the app, like a must have, and what is nice to have. And once I started to order these things, I was beginning to understand what is actually most needed for people and what is just a nice addition that won't elevate any experience. So I think that this kind of ability can help a lot of experienced UX UI professionals and junior ones to just try and get things into order. This is the way I started to solve some problems.
Beautiful. So, how does MVP feels into that? Is it overall MVP? That's how you build, or that's the part of the required um, process?
So MVP is actually like when you're working in startup, it's the only thing that exists. Uh, Unfortunately, in startups, time is on the essence, so everything needs to be very fast and very accurate. But most of the times, you will encounter bugs around the MVP, and then you started to grow your app around the problems you found. But it all starts from some kind of an MVP, and this is
Mhm.
also the heart of entrepreneurship in Israel, because if you're not start with something very little, you have no basis to start and work through.
Mm.
Uh, so I think that's the best way.
So let me remind our lovely viewers, minimum viable project is the way to start, whether you want to focus on the required fields or must have fields or nice to have areas to attract potential investors. Now, we've been talking about user experience, user interface, and I am mindful of time passing. We are 15 minutes towards the end of the show, and I would like to ask you, because you're very young, and well, by the sounds of it, you have quite a vast experience. Tell us, was there one particular person that helped you along the way, or is it just the startup nation that you're grateful to?
I don't think it's the startup nation, and I also don't think it's a one person in particular. I think the only person to trust it in this process is you and you alone. I was just trying to put my fear aside and to hear the no's. And every time I hear the no's, I just started to make something better and better and make myself better. And these improvements would never happen if I had done mistakes or heard the no's. So I think that if you're right now thinking about starting your career in tech and you're not sure, I think that with the true motivation, you can do anything. And this is the way I pursue my dreams and just started working. I never put it aside.
And how about dealing with self doubt? We had a topic of our conversation, episode 100. I encourage you all to check it. Um, there to be. And we know that fear of what other people think is the most paralyzing fear that is out there. How do you deal with that?
For sure. And I think that fear is something very human, like to feel and to act by. And I think that every job contains, like for women, but for men also, some kind of an imposter syndrome when you start. But the thing to know is it's always going to be this fear that numbing you. And you already have the no. So why won't trying to get a yes? Always think about that when you're trying to reach to new heights and limits.
Oh, absolutely. Eleanor Roosevelt once said, women are like tea bags. We don't know our true strength until we are in hot water. In life, how are you in hot water? And how are you brewing?
Wow. So I think that startup is actually always in hot water. And the ability to not get excited from there's things that is going to be challenging and there is going to be some kind of obstacles when you're conquering your dreams and everything, but understand that this is the actual field. And there's some kind of a phrasing to put fires, and this is the field the startup nation is like living by. We always put up fires before we're even starting to create new things. And I think that understanding that this is some kind of an area which is never on a stream and calm line is the ability to deal with it and to just ride along the new adventure and to like solve the new things coming up.
So, the new things coming up, and always look for new adventures. As we mentioned today, Grace Hopper, a ship in a port, looks beautiful and is safe, but it's not what ships are built for. Now, Hen, I wanted to ask you, your country is at the moment in a bit of a turmoil, but imagine you could travel anywhere in the world and have a private breakfast with anybody in the world. Who would you like to meet face to face, and where would you have that private breakfast?
Wow, I think that most interesting person I am dying to meet is probably Jeff Koons. Jeff Koons is like it's one of the greatest and most unique minds out there. And the thing around it is what Koons created is always triggering some kind of emotion. And this is the kind of way I like to also work. I love like triggering the emotion and understand how to analyze behaviors and to make experience better by it. Like I think that every experience is a true kind of art, and Jeff Koons is like one of the greatest artists out there. And if I would able to meet with someone, it will be with him. I don't care where, I don't care when. I hope that coffee will be involved in this situation because otherwise I won't be on my top edge. Like,
Absolutely. Well, caffeine always helps with some energy. And as the meme says, do stupid things faster. Now, we are heading towards the end of our show, and I've got a great quotation. We've had some quotations already, and a very marine based quotation. So let me bring you another one. When you can't change the direction of the wind, adjust your sails. H. Jackson Brown Jr. says. Now, we've gone through quite a turmoil today. I'm happy that you didn't have any interruption today. I
yeah.
wanted to ask you about your favorite book that you recommend, since you're such a bookworm. What is the number one book you wished you read before you started your career?
Wow. So career-wise, I think that everything by Jack Knapp, like how to solve problems better, is a very like his way of thinking, how to solve big problems and test new ideas in just 5 days was like a major turning point in my end, because once I understood how to do things faster. I was just able to reach a whole new height in my work at my own freelancing studio, but also at my job with each startup I started with. It's an amazing book. You all should read it. I truly recommend it.
Excellent. I actually am trying to slow down because I think I've had too much coffee. However, we need to hurry up because we are running out of time. So now I wanted to ask you, what's what are the best advice you ever received?
Best advice, I think, was to just listen. Truly, like listening and just trying to peel everything that comes like in unorthodox ways is is the most useful tip I ever got. Like just from some kind of perspective, you can always be the observers and just look and listen and be a fly on the wall and understand how things are working. Don't be very fast with acting, but with actually listening. This is like, I think, the true way to get this work done better and a bit more accurately.
Absolutely. If you can listen to all 103 previous 102 previous episodes, that's episode 103 today. Before we end our show, let me ask you about any new exciting projects. Helen, you mentioned you're working on this new project. Is there any other thing that is happening in your world, fast way or a slow way?
So I'm currently involved in Ludus Alliance, which is an amazing company that is trying to create some kind of cognitive athletics AI solution, and it's amazing. Uh, I'm currently the head of online experience over there, and it's not some kind of like passing by project. I feel that this company can truly see value in people and to motivate people to perform better. And I think like living I feel like I'm living the dream every day once I'm doing these things that I love, and this is truly the best way to move each like to pass your working hours, I believe.
So how long have you been working with them, or what's the timeline? When is the project
So
going
it,
to come into
yeah,
fruition?
it's been almost a year now, but it's not a project. I actually was recruited to be in house. So each kind of these projects is probably going to like make my mind differ a little bit from my own company, but I think that's for the best because it's really important to put some time and effort in something when you're really involved in, and like truly there, truly like doing stuff in house, and like seeing all the product and all the technical and IT and like the customer facing roles, to just absorb everything to make problem solving better for the company.
Another quotation that is great summary of today's conversation. It's not how deep you go, it's how you go deep, Ida Rolf said. And that's it from episode 103 of the PhD live stream. Thanks to our guest Chen Odesky. To stay updated and ensure you never miss a positivity hack delivered, follow Woman on IT and turn on notifications to be alerted once a video has been released. And as Han today said, listen. We have next week announcement. We are going to host Pamela Kellert, and topic will be ladies to leaders thriving in STEM. I would like to thank very much to Olga Vasina for making a comment and kindly providing us with a question. And thank you everyone who's listening to our show or watching our show, who participate every time or occasionally, or tune in on podcasts. As always, our positivity quote comes from positive thinking only and goes: look for something positive in each day, even if some days you have to look a little harder. As Maya Angelou says, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. Today is your day to hack the future, hack the positivity you want. Thank you.